Hello, it's me, Marnik90, your friendly neighborhood video game countdowner / tribute maker / critic / power scaler. I'm whatever you want me to be, baby. Continuing with Fate-centric videos, I came up with a pretty fun topic that has already seen some discussion in various forums dedicated to the Desert and Neutron Star fan-pandering gacha hill indulging meme machine that is the Fate franchise. That topic being the deep philosophical question of if the servants seen in Wario's Fate works have the power to destroy a planet. With numerous powerful noble phantasms, such as Ea, Excalibur and whatnot at their disposal, can some servants shatter a celestial body? That's what we are going to find out. Once again, contains spoilers for Fate Grand Order's entire story and Fate works like Apocrypha, Extra and Prototype, so proceed with your own risk. And yes, I'm well aware that I'm not pleasing everyone with this video. Let's go over a few guidelines I'll be abiding by in this video. All the official Fate and Type Moon material that has come out thus far will be accounted for and used in this video, which includes Fate Zero, Stay Night, Apocrypha, Grand Order, and billion other shit. Next, what counts as planetary destruction by this video's rules will be complete and utter annihilation or shattering beyond its gravitational binding energy of a planet the size and build of the Earth from our world. That our world part is important. Alternatively, the feat can have provable, tangible attack potency equal to that of planet destruction. And lastly, screw it, that's enough rules. On to the video.
That's just like, your opinion, man.
Before going over actual feats and statements that may or may not exist, we must take a look at the lore of the Type Moon franchise to even determine if planetary destruction is realistic or possible to accomplish by the standards of the story in the first place. In the Nasuverse, which Fate belongs to, the planet is, like everything else, complicated and pretty big deal on scale to simply planet to high concepts, as it's governed by powers like the counterforce. Counterforce is pretty much fundamental safety mechanism built into the planet, born from the collective unconscious of humanity, Alaya, and the unconscious will of the planet itself, Gaia. Yeah, planets in Nasuverse kinda have a will of their own, which somehow guides them to instinctively wish to survive and prosper. Counterforce, as the guardian of these two components of the planet, exists to guard humanity from extinction and the celestial body itself from destruction. Usually it acts indirectly, guiding, let's say, destiny in subtle ways, like with coincidences, in order to create factors to stop threats that potentially could destroy the planet. Or sometimes it'll just send out awesome archer guys to fill people with arrows so they don't disrupt the human order. Depends on the situation. Part of this is the authority possessed by the planet and its resident ultimate one, basically the living embodiment of the celestial body in Nasuverse. This authority pretty much dictates that no earthborn creature should normally be able to destroy the planet, hence why aliens and such are considered big threats in Nasuverse, as they exist outside of Earth's rules. In summary, in order to destroy a planet in Nasuverse, you'd pretty much need to be in a situation that bypasses or is outside of the counterforce's influence, or possess authority that subverts Earth's or is outside of its set of rules, or perhaps to have a specific lore that would allow you to destroy planets somehow. With this information in mind, let's take a look at actual instances of planet busting being attempted and its relationship with the counterforce.
You can't handle the truth!
The short answer? No. Long answer? Kinda. Yes, specific circumstances where they were either countered or halted by the counter force or somehow managed to avoid its influences, but can't have the planet blow up on screen, we keep all our stuff there. If it blows, the story is over, what's even point of blowing planet up? And if there's no story, there's no money, and money makes the world go round, and especially the Fate series, so stop whining on about the "What Mario the 90, where's the planet? I didn't see the planet blow up, where is it?" When you get down to it, that's where all the counter arguments begin and end. Hey, I said counter again, like the counter force. Okay, I'll stop now. There has been 5 major instances where I can with 100% certainty say planet-busting feat indeed has been performed. To no success, however. At first, we have a feat performed by the living flex himself, King of Heroes Gilgamesh, in one of the more obscure parts of Fate series. Fate Strange Fake. God, I just love that title. Gilgamesh finally goes all out against someone, that being his bro for life, Enkidu. This results in them clashing with their strongest noble phantasms, Enuma Elish. Ea is one of the most ridiculous things in anime, described as the quote anti-world noble phantasm capable of destroying all creation, a sword of rupture which cut the creation from nothingness, star of creation that split heaven and earth which gods of Mesopotamia used to create the planet. Pretty big words there. Notice the use of anti-world here. In Fate, anti-world doesn't actually refer to the ability to destroy a planet, but rather destruction of the world's texture and laws. Basically, it would be more appropriate to call them anti-existence or anti-reality. I kinda forgot to mention that planet in Fate, or the world, has multiple layers beyond normal reality of physical, mental, and spiritual existence. One such being the reverse side of the world. Anti-worlds basically affect texture of the first layer in destructive manner, so pretty distinct from anti-planet NPs. The scale of these NPs depends, such as BB's cursed-cutting crater only destroying a small select space inside the sphere she creates, so keep that in mind too. Back to Gilgamesh and Enkidu blasting each other. It's pretty much confirmed that Gil's Ea will destroy the Earth here, forcing Enkidu to block it. It's stated by the masters, implied by the script, shown via the scale, and Enkidu even takes all the planet's mana to match it. And if you think all of the Earth's mana isn't planetary, f**k you. And to top it all, Enkidu's Enuma Elish is specifically described to be drawing its power from the counterforce, its power increasing in response to things that threaten to destroy the planet. Gilgamesh's Ea is the one he uses it against. So anyway, planet was spared that day due to Enkidu blocking Gil's assault, specifically thanks to the counterforce. In any other normal planet, in any other franchise with Gil able to do as he pleases, we would have been f***ed. Next up, let's turn our attention to the second feat that's perhaps surprisingly associated with common rebuttal to Planetary Fate characters, Shinjuku, Phantom Incident in the Fate Grand Order. The whole fucking plot of this chapter is a plot by James Moriarty, self-proclaimed criminal mastermind and owner of Rocking Old Man Do, aiming to perform perfect crime, the destruction of the whole planet. Bear with me here. Moriarty fused with Phantom Spirit, der Freishut, their Freishuts, to gain access to that opera character's 7 magic bullets, 6 of which are always fated to hit its target. The 7th would hit something he cared for, which in series of convoluted threats, which included memory loss and confused identities, ended up being FGO's main character, and the 7th bullet being the asteroid called Bennu, which upon its impact would destroy not only the main character, but the planet. Short story long, upon hearing of this ridiculously circuitous scheme, Da Vinci, the smartest person in Chaldea, immediately objects, stating that even if anti-planet type noble phantasm existed, which it totally does, on paper it still shouldn't be able to destroy this one. Later, she goes on detail how there are numerous countermeasures set by the Earth to prevent that kind of thing.
Ha! There you have it! It can't be done! Mountain level servants confirmed!
That is what people who didn't actually listen to that sentence would say. Even in this very same scene, Holmes debunks her. And hell, Da Vinci doesn't even say servant and peace can't destroy planets. But in actuality, she says that they can destroy them, but this specific planet would stop it thanks to its safety precautions. Also, in what world does one statement, which in this case doesn't hold water, is supposed to disprove multiple instances that support the claim anyway? I mean, assuming we're getting there? Holmes explained it best. Destroying the planet, which they explicitly refer to as entire planet multiple times by the way, is made possible by Shinjuku's singularity being cut off from normal human history, where Counterforce will not see any need to intervene, basically saying, yes, Moriarty can destroy the planet, with his full-powered noble phantasm and bunch of other shit helping him, in a specific event where planet will literally not try to punch him in the balls while he's mid-shot, and yes, he's not even considered top-tier servant. Furthermore, Emia Alter, not a top tier either mind you, f***ing fragments that crappy ass meteor that was gonna kablooey the world, and Saber Alter vaporizes that shit for good measure. So there's that too. Moving on. A lot of planetary level statements exist too. The beast class servants are generally seen as a threat to all human history, and not just the planet, but they, along with grand servants who scale to them, have some direct statements of planet destruction to their names. Getias and Solomon's Ars Almadel Salomonis in particular is stated to be able to blast through or blast away the planet. It's also openly stated to be hundreds of millions of times stronger than Excalibur, which has some pretty insane scaling, as I already showed. After some 3,000 years worth of gathering mana off of the human history, its energy is capable of surpassing the genesis of the planet which created the world, possibly including all of its textures, which means that in that case, this attack at full power surpasses Planetary by a mile. Times infinity. We will come back to this and other feats performed by the Grand and Beast class, but right now, for this feat, planet destruction is at very least given. Finally, we have another pretty significant clear-cut feat coming from our big boy, Surtur. Whereas the likes of Ivan the Terrible are physical calamities, Surtur is conceptual one, stated to be able to destroy the whole world. During the Norse Lost Belt, he absorbed Fenrir the Wolf, which gave him power to burn all of Norse Lost Belt and slay all Norse gods, barring Odin and Skadi. He is also stated to radiate heat close to an average star, in his very much dwindled state, by Holmes. And as we've established, Sherlock knows his stuff. Surtur is able to destroy planet's entire texture, and his noble phantasm, Lopter like yarn, is outright stated to lead to planet's demise, it being one of 9 realms of Norse mythology. He is also continuously described as world-ending giant, just an orgy of evidence showcasing Surtur having a planetary power. Man, this guy makes Surtur from Thor Ragnarok look like a CG pussy. On the more obscure and perhaps sillier side of things, Mysterio's Heroine X series of servants have been stated to achieve planetary destruction with their warrior skills and NPs. Multiple times in fact. Mysterio's Heroine X Alter's Necro Caliber is flat out stated to be able to cleave through the planet, while Mysterio's Heroine XX Foreigner, god these names are killing me, claims to be able to unleash anti-planet noble Phantasm to blow planets from her ship Du Stallion and from her version of Longbow Miniad, and the regular Mysterio's Heroine X has a skill called Galactic Meteor Sword, which has a description stating that it's anti-saber power that destroys even stars, or possibly just celestial bodies in Japanese. That's surprisingly consistent for a parody character, I guess. What's also consistent is their endless jobbing streak. Even losing to Saber-class servants, she has conceptual advantage over, so in turn all these planetary feats would scale to most high-tier servants. Also, just so you know, Mysterious Heroine X Alter apparently possesses Infinity Gauntlet in form of infinite chocolate. Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, weren't these servants parodying that other cinematic universe, the one that was Tank? Lastly, let's take a look at some existing anti-planetary noble phantasms, further confirming some high-tier servants reaching this level. Angra Mainyu, CCC, Pale Blue Dot, and NPs possessed by Greek gods Artemis and Venus are all classified as anti-planet, some arguably above that level, some below. but the fact that Noble Phantasm classifications are meant to signify range rather than power of the Noble Phantasm should confirm that more potent or powerful NPs can and do exist that are not classified as anti-planet, which can be further seen in the next section.
Not scientifically possible!
There is pretty obscene amount of Noble Phantasm statements and lore in Fate franchise that either implies, hints at, or dances around the idea of planet destruction. A lot of these feats are left to interpretation or are not as cut and dry as the more evident feats on the last section. A great example of possible unconfirmed planetary threat that exists in the wars is posed by regular humans and magus that the counterforce regularly sets out to eliminate due to the threat they pose, mainly seen in Archer Emia's backstory, where the counterforce, Alaya, sent him out to kill multiple people that were somehow a threat to the world or humanity. While this doesn't automatically mean that they had created weapons that can blow up the planet itself, it's still evidence of such being a possibility. The same can be said of Atlas Institute, a magecraft research facility that has reportedly created 7 deadly superweapons that all are capable of ending the world. The reason why I'm mentioning these is because heroic spirits are supposed to be the pinnacle of humanity, transcending them in terms of power and mystery. Yes, I know that there are some humans powerful enough to fight servants, but you get the general idea. It shouldn't be impossible for exceptionally powerful servants to accomplish feats even mere humans can replicate. Back at the servant corner, I have so much shit for this section that I'm just gonna split this into 2 subcategories. Possible planet destruction via Fate lore and theoretical planet destruction via real-life legends the heroes are based on. At Fate lore side, the first thing we are gonna look at is the power of Rongum Miniat, the spear at the ends of the earth. It is described as both fastening the 2 sides of the world, the normal reality and the reverse side of the world of illusions together, as well as anchor of storm that fastens the planet together. Not only does it scale off of Excalibur, but its ability to stitch the 2 layers of reality together into one planet means that removal of its power could result in reality of the planet ending as we know it, or Age of Gods mixing with Age of Man. Considering that the Greater Grail has similar kind of power and that normal Grails already possess world-ending, life-wiping lore to them, it's more than likely that Rongum Miniat scales way above Planetary. There's also that statement of it having energy value surpassing all recorded Noble Phantasms on Chaldea, but it's questionable what NPs this includes. But alas, more supporting evidence.
Oh, and look, it's even stated to be on par with Surtur's planet-busting sword. Who would have known?
Enkidu's Enuma Elish, unlike Gilgamesh's version, is not destructive in nature, but rather defensive. I've already showcased it possessing capability to block planet-level attacks, but it's possible that it also has the capability to replicate that feat. Or does it? Short answer, no. Long answer, kinda? The attack is described as Enkidu transforming themselves into a divine construct, utilizing counterforce and transforming it into a form the world can recognize, be it chains or huge as flower. In Strange Fake, it seemed to act on direct opposition of Gil's Ea, healing the world as Ea was rending it apart. In FGO, however, we see that it can be used as a spear that Enkidu can utilize for attack as well. So, assuming it has the same AP as its defense, it's safe to give it a planetary rating. Karna's Wasabi Shakti has interesting feat of arguable planet-breaking shenanigans. Yes, I know, it's described to be above Rahamastra Kundala in destructive power, aka anti-country, but as I've already explained, the rankings are only to signify how much ground Noble Phantasm can cover. It might be far more powerful depending on the attack, which might be the case with Karna's Divine Spirit Slaying Spear. That is a feat on itself, but during Fate Apocrypha we see Karna unleashed spear, burning 1/3 of the animation budget in the process, until Meme Master and Trap Extraordinaire Astolfo jumps in, utilizing Achilles Cosmos to block the attack, allowing the main character Sieg to kill the bamboozled Bishi boy with a big move of his own. That's the anime. What the visual medium doesn't show us is that in original novel Achilles Cosmos is destroyed by the attack. For those who don't know, that's divine shield of hero Achilles, described as entire world made in the image of the world during great hero's time, containing potentially entire planet's surface within it, able to be projected as wall. If this is the case, then surely Wasabi Shakti would be planetary, or at the very least surface level in power, or shattering it, right? Well, the thing with that is that Wasabi Shakti is also anti-divine NP, and Achilles' Cosmos is divine construct, crafted by god Hephaestus, so maybe that has something to do with it. Our lovable, edgy priest Amakusa Shiro also has a peculiar feat with his NP, Twin Arm Big Crunch, which is described as a pseudo-black matter that swallows all beings in the surroundings. Kinda sounds like
A black hole!
And not only that, when used in Fate Apocrypha, it even looks and acts like one, so it possibly has the same AP as a black hole. Obviously it doesn't have range of one, seeing how it doesn't start to suck up all of Hanging Gardens and beyond, but still, its properties are considerably similar. It even swallowed up conceptual attacks like La Pucelle. Also, keep in mind that Amakusa is rather weak servant, whom likes of Siegfried would one-shot. Ishtar, the first thought in human history, also possesses attack that seemingly showcases planetary power.
光栄に思いなさい。これが私の全力全霊。打ち砕け、ウガルタキガルシュ。
Damn, she shot entire planet? That was converted to the size of bowling ball? Granted, this is not the Venus in outer space of modern era, but rather the Venus in outer space of Age of Gods. So it's not a real planet, but rather conceptual one, which to me sounds even more powerful potentially. Plus, she's actually condensing that shit. Yes, it might be anti-mountain in range, but should have planetary AP. So not planet destruction, but equally as powerful. Alter Ego Passion Lip possesses a skill called Trash and Crash that allows anything, no matter how large, to be crushed and compressed by her nails, as long as she can perceive it fitting into the palm of her hands, whether it was a person, building, or entire arena. So, theoretically, if you were to grab her, fly her to the space, and allow her an unbroken view of the entire planet, she should be able to use this skill to grind Earth to dust. The compressed dust is stored in imaginary number space, so it can hold infinite amount of it. Fitting a destroyed planet shouldn't be that hard, if you were wondering. Basically, this is planet busting, but only in specific circumstances. Sir Gawaine's sword, Excalibur Galatine, is already on equal grounds with Excalibur and other holy swords, but it also has its own maybe feat. This sword is stated to be a replica of the sun itself, stated by Gawain himself and all the material associated with the sword. And in Fate Extella, he is even shown creating miniature suns with its power. So that's supporting evidence of holy swords having planetary AP. The immortal Jade Emperor Mothra von Androgynos, also known as Darth Qinshi Huang the Wise, also has incredibly Hack's noble phantasm that manifests the Great Wall of Chinese Lost Belt, capable of ensnaring the Earth, as well as combating extraterrestrial threats that could pose a threat to the planet. Its scope is limited by the territory under his rule, so Chinese Lost Belt, where Gin rules everything, it more than likely reaches those planetary tiers of power. At the very least, if we consider the scale and purpose of this wall, which no one in the Lost Belt doubts.
Though I have to say that it's kinda weird how its size is dependent on the size of Gin's empire when the animation is exactly the same even when he's summoned by Chaldea.
Weird. Next one is popular one and much less arguable than previous entries. Session Kiara's Servant and Beast form both display the same NP, Amida Amitabha, Heaven's Hole, which has a scale and magnitude that reaches stellar ranges. Kiara completely replaces the sun as the center of the solar system, becoming a promised paradise capable of taking in all of humanity's desire. Now that's a big pair if I've ever seen one.
I am Wisen of of the seven deities!
Just with the sheer size alone, this noble phantasm should be planetary. Like, imagine Kiara punching a planet in that form. But again, it might be even higher, especially with Beast Kiara. Lastly, Angra Mainyu, the original Avenger from Fate's Stay Night, also has a lot of robust surface to potential planet level scaling, his being as all the world's evil stated to contain endless darkness of curses that will flood the world, that no servant can resist.
Unless your name's Shiroemia.
Though these are feats of Angra Mainyu, who's fused with the Grail, not the servant variation, and thusly inedible for this video. Just thought I should at least mention the most major plot point in original Fate visual novel. So, I guess we move on to the potential/theoretical feats by real-life lore, and man, this one's a doozy. Firstly, we have a well-known feat performed by Berserker, aka Herman Ankles, who in one of the variations of his 11th labor to steal the golden apples of society, lifted up the heavens in the place of Titan Atlas. Heavens in Greek myth contained all of the surrounding universe and constellations, it being equal to 3 other facets of Greek's infinite cosmology: Earth, Sea, and the Underworld. The reason why this is extremely questionable is because this particular version of the myth is never referenced in any Fate media and potentially isn't even canon, due to Herc just finding the golden apple tree on his own and slaying the 100-headed dragon Ladon to acquire them in another version of the legend. Judging by Herc's performances against holy swords as well as anti-planetary attacks from Surtur and machine god Artemis, ended with him losing all his 12 lives even under multiple amps, yeah, it doesn't look good scaling wise. Oh man, went from hero to zero in one attack. Next up we have Jill DeRay, Abigail Williams, and all the other Foreigner-class servants who can call upon the power of Lovecraftian outer gods. Like, in their original lore, outer gods are no joke. It's not even a question if they can destroy planets or stars. They are literally beings of higher dimensionality, some of which transcend infinite dimensions to even outerworldal concepts. While caster Jill is shown to summon many otherworldly demons, I don't think any of the ones in Phase Zero can planet bust. Just hunch.
He likely cannot destroy the world.
As well, that's what he wanted for France in Orleans Singularity and raised army instead of, I don't know,
Summoning Cthulhu or something.
Abigail is shown to be connected to an outer god more directly, one by the name of Sut Typhon, Guardian of the Gate, which just happens to be alternate name for either Fruit from Fullmetal Alchemist or more likely Lovecraft mythology's second biggest motherfucker, Yog-Sothoth.
Stop! There's no way that Lovecraft gods in Fate are anywhere near as powerful as their canon Cthulhu Mythos versions. They must be nerfed. They're fictitious pieces of hentai.
Why, thank you, voice in my head that questions everything. That might indeed be true in Fate franchise, where characters' powers aren't always proportional to their real-life or mythic counterparts. However, Abigail and Sut Typhon actually display a variety of outer god-like abilities and tropes, like existing outside of space-time. But there also exists a statement of outer gods in Nasuverse directly being comparable to true diamonds, the second most powerful things in Nasuverse below Void Shiki, and if you know anything about Nasuverse cosmology, that's like a multiple dimensions to possible outerversal levels of power.
BB also states that her outer god is being of higher dimensionality. Also, outer gods are considered to be outside of Earth, so there's that too.
You don't even get how deep this goes. Another character that could potentially reach planet level, or more likely surface wiping power, is another version of Gilgamesh from Fate Prototype. His noble phantasm can summon the flood of Utnapishtim, the surge of water described in the Epic of Gilgamesh, to have wiped the world clean, destroying all life, Proto-Gilgamesh referring to this fact when he activates the noble phantasm. The reason why this is little contestable is because the attack seems to be localized in his case, unlike the flood in actual legend. Surtur in Norse mythology is described to burn the whole world of 9 realms with fire, from which the new fertile ground will be born in time. Fires of Muspelheim, the land Surtur is king of, also formed the stars. No mention of these things have appeared in Fate, but it would only be supporting evidence to mountains worth of planet-level feats Surtur already has. And then there's a boatload of characters who scale the gods from their respective mythologies and stories by having either fought them or have a power granted by them. Why you should care is because depending on the interpretation, nearly all of Greek, Aztec, Egyptian, Nordic, Hindu and other deities tend to scale at least to the parts of their respective cosmologies, either by creating them like Tiamat, embodying them like Amaterasu, or manipulating and destroying them like Ereshkigal. Characters that scale to gods in this nature include
Heracles, Achilles, Theon, Skahak, Karna, Arjuna, Gilgamesh, Enkidu, Ereshkigal, Ishtar, Ozymandias, Brunhild, Anubis, Nazambi, Cetonai, Quetzalcoatl, Aishia-Doman, Pale Rider, and Magni,
among many others. Finally, before moving on to the next section, let's talk about reality marbles. A very advanced and rare magecraft in Nasuur's few mages and heroic spirits are capable of, such as Archer Emiya. It's a power to project one's inner world into existence as sort of a pocket dimension. To which size these miniature realities extend is never really specified, but Iskandar's Ionioi Hetaroi contains a vast expanse of desert and what appears to be a sun. Now, this could just be an image of sun, or artificial one, or alternatively, like some characters refer to the marble, entire world. Zehehahorachades Alf Leila Waleila contains all the stories of 1001 Nights, and is at least implied to contain their worlds, which should all be full of stars to the very least. However, this is not confirmed. Finally, Solomon's Ars Paulina is a reality marble that is functionally the entire universe, which is the size of single human cell, so make of that what you will. It's really hard to assess reality marbles, but arguments can be made for them. That being said, we move on to the second to last section. If I haven't convinced you yet that servants can destroy planets, now's the time to believe, because Fate has a strange taste, and a lot of beyond planetary bullshit.
The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of...
That's him!
So, Fate feats that are higher than planetary exist, and they're pretty much undisputable. So let's start with the big guns, the beast scaling. Yes, the evils of humanity that are manifestations of disaster. Beast 2, Tiamat, is capable of wiping the world and the underworld clean with her chaos tide, but her true power is her very being. According to FGO's character profile, Tiamat is composed of black mud, which is made of imaginary numbers, so her weight is unquantifiable, and her volume is infinite, these two factors making Tiamat's body fourth-dimensional pocket. This is supported by statements saying that she exists simultaneously across all of space-time, as well as Beast 1 Getia being repeatedly stated to be higher dimensional being.
Also, Kama has this statement of controlling infinite universes, which is similar to Beast Kiara having infinite demon god pillars inside of her.
Or grant servants having same crafts of higher rank to normal hero spirits able to defeat infinite amount of them. Well, any servant in Babylonia who somehow managed to harm Tiamat even a little would scale this, as would Mash, who fought Getia directly. Oh, and look, here's Gilgamesh's Ea, straight up killing weakened Tiamat, affecting something that in essence is infinite. Also, these same kinds of statements exist for other beasts, like Kiara, so that opens a whole new discussion regarding the characters who fought them. Did I also mention that this is just the tip of the iceberg? Kama, as a regular servant form of the god, mind you, not the beast one, possesses noble phantasm called Kama Samsara, which is described as an arrow of love that spreads Kama's endless love throughout the universe, burning all with its touch. Basically, she's so thirsty that
It burns!
Just a servant, by the way, not a beast. Our next contender is our good old pal Excalibur. As it turns out, the planet-busting meteor chunk vaporizing iconic weapon is never at full power. In its original purpose, it is meant to be a holy sword that saves the planet from great evil, always meant to prevail. As the weapon possesses such incredible power, it is limited by seals from each of the Knights of Round Table. Only when all of the right conditions are met can the sword truly unleash its full power, as revealed in Fate Prototype.
But that's the thing! The thing is that only Proto Excalibur Excalibur possesses the limiting thing normal Excalibur doesn't scale. Nee.
To that I could say, what of it? But instead, my dear annoying voice, I'll say that in FGO's interlude for Saber Artoria, it is confirmed that her Excalibur also possesses these restraints, which is also the case for Rongo Midiat. These seals can only be opened if all 13 conditions for Excalibur's use is clear, which is hard, because hardly any battle would clear them all. Even when faced with one of the beast class, Proto-Arthur only managed to clear 6 out of 13 restraints. If Excalibur with about half or less seals opened is able to perform feats like one in Shinjuku, just imagine how powerful actual full power Excalibur is. I've even heard couple people claiming that it has the power to slay full beast class servants and destroy the entire counter force, but I sure as shit haven't seen proof of that, and it certainly isn't in Fate prototype fragments. There exists a potential case of full power Excalibur having been used in the series, that being in Fate Extella, where the newly created sword killed the White Titan Sephar. I mean, the seals were made by the Round Table. Technically, at that point in timeline, Round Table didn't fucking exist. I think it's likely that Excalibur wasn't limited by any seals. But regardless, slaying Sephar is enormous feat way above Planetary, as the White Titan is an alien, and aliens in Nasuverse mean business. This thing fought solo versus all the major gods of the planet, simultaneously mind you, and not their shitty servant versions. No. She beat the crap out of them in the peak of their power during Age of Gods. Considering how most gods tend to be most powerful servants, yeah, shit's crazy. I mean, damn, Amaterasu in her servant form is stated to be multiversal threat, and other powerful gods should scale from that. Fucking hell, man.
Also, did you know that Achilles' Cosmos is stated to contain entire universe in his Bondcraft essence? Well, it was made by a god, so Wasabi Shakti and Shield being universal seems consistent, is all I'm saying.
Speaking of gods, Arjuna absorbed like boatload of them, becoming the most OP motherfucker under the sun. Arjuna Altar is basically walking talking destruction machine with the combined powers of all Hindu gods except Kama and Ganesha. To stop me from rambling on what abilities and authorities he has, like flinging planets, shooting lasers, erasing people from cycle of rebirth and so on, I'm just gonna say that this guy's noble phantasm is basically Hakai for the entire universe. The Mahapralaya, Kalpa of Destruction, which is stated to point at the recreation and re-annihilation of the universe upon Brahma's death, is an anti-world noble phantasm that doesn't just rent the world, but annihilates it in its entirety. That's all I have to say about that. Zeus from Atlantic Lost Belt is also being of similar proportions, having absorbed the powers of other 12 Olympian gods. Wow, it's like these Lost Belt storylines have a similar plot or something. Just one of Zeus's lightning bolts is stated to be so powerful that it's on par with anti-planet noble phantasm fired by Artemis. Also, he has some ridiculous statements, with just 35% of his power reaching anti-planet, anti-solar system, anti-spacetime, and anti-concept levels of power. That's Zeus for you, good old bull. On another corner of OP, Space Ishtar from the Servant Universe, is also capable of ridiculous feats on celestial scale with her noble phantasm, Erin Shugra Quasar. As seen in her animation, she kinda summons an entire primordial universe from her body to bring forth this big-ass Ishtar clone, actually a temple of Bel Manna, which is comprised of higher dimensional souls. Absorbing spiritual core of the Milky Way galaxy, transforms it into energy, and fires that said energy, burning space itself. This is starting to go a tad bit too far. Okita Soji alters NP Zekken Mukyon Sandan, one of my favorite NPs, is also ludicrous. As stated by its description, Okita's dialogue, and even its very name, it is immeasurable, free of obstacles, infinite beam of light, transporting her opponent that doesn't even need to possess actual tangible existence, so yes, she can kill non-existent and other characters like that, into endless world of Muken, where she proceeds to pierce the world with boundless black beam.
No way, you're taking this out of context. She cuts the world with her blade, but we never see it go all the way through the infinite world. Yeah, you suck. Unsubscribed.
Well, yes, but actually no. Not only is the beam described as infinite, it's in fact confirmed to pierce the infinite world. It's so continuously stated that it's not even funny. And last time I checked, infinity is above Planetary. Like, by a lot. Speaking of endlessness, Abigail Williams's NP Cliphot Rhizome is stated to open a gate to a realm uncompatible with human existence, which possesses property of endlessness, eclipsing the normal universe in her animation. Bringing forth such thing would normally be considered anti-world noble phantasm, but due to the effect and the foreign universe being localized into Abigail's mind, it's only anti-uni. Should be universal in potency though.
And remember how I mentioned her outer god being Yoxatot? Just putting it out there. Outer reversal Abigail is a possibility.
Whew. I think that's all the insane crap in Fate series. What? I forgot to address the war elephant in the room? I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about. If you want something extra, then wait. Oh shit, here we go again. Ah yes, Fate Extra Series, a cesspool of multiversal madness and confusing cosmology, is pretty infamous in versus debating communities for promoting 2A or 1C Fate characters, or whatever strange numbers you Wikia-savvy people like to use. So, Fate Extra doesn't actually scale to the mainline Fate like some would like you to believe. Let me explain. Let's first talk about the Moon Cell, the alien supercomputer designed to observe and record everything and anything on Earth, simulating its possible timelines, meaning that obtaining its power manifests any of those infinite possibilities into reality. Thus, it is kind of a holy grail of Extra Series. The main area the Moon Cell Holy Grail War and events of Extra Series take place in is called Seraph, artificial digital world simulating human history and its infinite branching timelines. Due to this environment being only approximation of reality, its rules and limitations are quite different in comparison, as stated multiple times. This allows feats far beyond normal reality to occur, such as servants and humans ignoring the strain world places on individuals trying to circumvent its rule via things like projection, reality marble, or time alteration. So, feats performed within Moon Cell are not directly comparable to their real-world counterparts, and are relegated to the area of Moon Cell. So, the feats. Scaling the Extra Series comprehensively would require a lot more research and me to dedicate an entire video for it, but let's just quickly go over the mountain of asinine bullshit this version of Fate is capable of to see what level of power we are talking about here. Firstly, Gilgamesh is able to survive in far side of the moon, which is space of higher dimensionality, comprised of imaginary numbers where nothing should exist. Sephar is able to shake the infinite universe of Seraph with its mere screams, stated to be a threat that can destroy all of Seraph and eventually pose a threat to whole Moon Cell. Then Nero, Tamamo and Altera just beat her ass. BB is able to hack and pass through Moon Cell's 8-dimensional barriers. Gilgamesh is able to shatter Moon Cell's reality marbles that possibly simulate the entire planet or the universe. Saver's Chakravartin is able to take control of Seraph, twisting and altering its functions and rules, only to destroy all of Seraph's multiverse in the end, erasing all Moon Cell's recorded infinite timelines and ceasing all possibilities. Nine-tailed Tamamo can fly at immeasurable speed and punch the shit out of Moon Cell core. BB can fucking fuse with the Moon Cell, becoming being that not only possesses first Mother Goddess's power that makes likes of Tiamat look like crap, but also co-high with the authority of above 8-dimensional structure. Kiara is able to absorb BB, becoming even more powerful compared to fucking true diamonds, with the ability to fuck planets. And yes, I'm not kidding. Saber is literally so powerful that Kiara is only now reaching his level. King Protea can grow without a limit, even threatening the whole Moon Cell, which, as I've established, has 8-dimensional space. Mythological mystic codes allow servants to become one with their origin and beat the shit out of BB, Kiara, and more and more and more! So, that's the gist of it. Well, fuck, I guess there's nothing left for me to do but move on to the conclusions. Can servants destroy planets? Yes. Judging by the onslaught of consistent influx of provable, debatable, and straight up above planetary feats, servants can destroy planets. But not in Nasuverse, that is hard, for most of the time anyway, due to their planet requiring multitude of higher dimensional layers to be destroyed in order to blow it up, and the circumvention of its authority and defensive mechanisms. But if you were to drop servants into a verse where that's not the case, sure, they can do it. But calm down, I'm not saying that every servant ever can do it, like Anderson or something. Only servants with powerful NPs and feats to back it up, and ones directly scaling to them can do such thing. Anyway, that's it. Of course, I could have talked on about some obscure FGO statements, more Lost Belt nonsense, scalable Tsukihime feats, or theorized about if noble phantasms like La Pucelle
Or Holmes killing all mystery.
or the like could be utilized to end the world, but the video's already long as it is. I think you might have got the point already. So, thank you for watching this ridiculous video. This was a long in the making. I actually had to rework this couple of times. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, refutals, or feats I don't know about, write them down in the comments. I'll be glad to answer them and talk to you. So hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notifications if you're a subscriber, and help me spread the word. I'm Marioneck90 and... oh, what's that? You want to know if servants are faster than light? Well, that's a silly question.
So if servants can kill planets, and Shiki can kill servants, does that mean that Shiki can kill planets?